And Brian, I want to press pause there because I think it's important for your viewers to understand just how small an investment on the part of the state it would take to give a 100% property tax exemption to every senior in the state of Ohio with no limits for income, no limits for home value. A 100% property tax exemption for seniors has been costed out by the state Senate, and they themselves concluded that a 50% exemption would be 1.5 billion, so a 100% exemption would be $3 billion. And while 3 billion sounds like a lot of money to those of us who are working regular jobs, the truth is it's less than 3% of the state budget. So when your state rep or state senator has the unmitigated gall to say to you, we can't possibly afford to exempt seniors, they're telling you that you don't matter less than 3% of their budget to them.
I did not know that, Commissioner, and I appreciate that. I will, file that for future use. 3%. And the seniors are not important enough to the state legislators to find a 3% somewhere else. When you look at it that way, it really, I really get upset. And the legislators that talked to me, I asked them if they'd signed the petition and to abolish the property tax, and they say, "Well, Brian, we're really behind you, but we really can't publicly, support you." And I'm saying to them, "You're going to be judged by your fruits. I'm your actions and not your words. It's your actions that mean something to me." And Commissioner Plechnik, I appreciate you being one of the very first leader in Lake County to sign that petition, and you have been very vocal about property taxes and how it is having a severe detrimental effect on the citizens of Lake County and throughout the state of Ohio.
Thank you, Brian. I'm just being a voice for the people who elected me,
Hmm.
and I'm repeating what they're telling me. And when people ask, well, how do you know that this is a problem? How do you know seniors are being taxed out of their homes? Like, I pick up the phone. I don't have some staffer answering my phone calls for me. I don't have some staffer replying to my emails for me. I'm reading them, I'm calling back myself, and the stories I've heard are tragic. So it's not as though I'm working off a poll here or a summary. I'm hearing directly from my neighbors who've been telling me for over 2 years now that they cannot afford this anymore. And it's
Yeah.
shocking to me that our friends in Columbus are so far removed from the people. They're in such a tiny little echo chamber that they really believe that this was all just going to go away. And I know because I've talked to them like you have. In fact, I think at this point, some of them have blocked my number. But the conversations that I've had with them, they really were like, oh, John, every 3 years, everybody gets mad when their property taxes go up and then they give up and go home. It'll be just like it always is. And I said, listen, I hear you. Many of you have been around. You're a lot longer than me, a lot more important than I am. But I've been hearing from hundreds and hundreds of people for years that this is their number one concern. And we all know that not everyone complains. Not everyone knows how to reach out. Not everyone feels safe reaching out. And so if you hear one complaint, it usually represents a lot of people. And when you hear hundreds of complaints, that's just about everybody, frankly.
Yeah, I forgot to mention, I saw Representative Dan Troy at the Wycliffe Library, a few weeks ago, and we have him on video saying that school funding is the purest form of socialism from the redistribution of wealth. And I found that interesting that a representative, really mentioned that. But when I tie that statement into the statement that Ron Young said a few years back on his last day as commissioner, that the two most important issues for the government is to protect itself and grow. So when you have those two statements in my mind, I'm saying we're on the wrong path. We're supposed to be a constitutional republic. We're not supposed. Everyone is supposed to have the chance to move. We're not supposed to just have the elites and all the serfs. There's got to be this middle class. But unfortunately, I see what I think is happening is we're following in the path of Europe, the European Union. And I just found out in France, when if you can't work any more than 30 to 35 hours because you got to give the other person a chance to. So if you're being limited in that way, that's true socialism, and you're going to absolutely destroy the middle class in the United States. So I'll get off the property tax and we'll turn it over to Kent, but I'll give you the last word, Commissioner Pletcher, on the property taxes.
Brian, I would just say to our friends and neighbors, whether you support abolishing property taxes or not, whether you support abolishing property taxes or you just want to see some lowering, some tax relief, you need to sign the petition, because the only reason we're seeing movement in Columbus and the only reason there's serious consideration of cutting property taxes down there is because they have the sword of Damocles hanging over their head, the very real possibility that all the taxes will be taken away in 2026 with the constitutional amendment. So for those of you who just want to see a property tax cut, the only way you're going to get it is if you sign that petition, so that our friends in Columbus know that they have to make their last best offer before this thing hits the ballot. In other words, Brian, everyone needs to sign this petition.
100%. Well, based on that, I can give you a heads up, and this is also for the legislators in Columbus, that we have heard from Mike Sweeney, who is head of the Ohio Libertarian Party, and he is 100% behind our movement, and they are going to help us collect signatures. So we appreciate the help. This is not a Democrat, Republican, Libertarian, Independent. This is a people vote, and it's a movement that if we can get it on the ballot, 80% of the people are going to vote to abolish it, and this may lead to a national movement on property taxes. So Kent, we're finished with property taxes. You had something for us on.
Yeah, no, we're gonna really quick just go over and make sure to support us on Rumble, on YouTube. Make sure to subscribe, but then also share this. Sharing is caring always. Go to actually ohiopoliticalnews.com/shop and you can get actually the shirt that I'll show that off right now. We'll play a little bit.
So I am saying too.
Just he has the shirt. Brian has the shirt on. We'll show it on the website. But there's the
Senate
shirt
President McCauley. Oh, geez.
So there's the shirt, and we'll put it up on the screen right now. If you
want to call out the Senate President, you need this shirt.
Well, and so if you want to go to ohiopoliticalnews.com/shop, you can order the shirts. We're gonna also get mugs also for that. I know I saw Brian drinking his.
Yes, I got the mug.
He got the mug. Yep.
Yeah.
So, but also make sure to just again go to. We're on. Really, Facebook is also another really powerful place right now. Join us on Facebook, like us on Facebook, like us on X, follow, and again, we're going to be sharing this on all the different platforms, especially Substack too, where you're live streaming on Substack, and that's another location that you can find us. But I'm going to turn this over to the... How about, here's another question.